Organizing and decluttering with ADHD can be super frustrating. One of the things I found that is a solution is a doom box. But is it actually a good solution or a bad solution? Now, what is a doom box? It is a box that you put all your essential items that you want to keep track of, but you're not going to organize them. And what the actual word doom means is an abbreviation for don't organize, only move. That means whatever you're trying to figure out that I need to organize this stuff, but I don't have time to organize it right now, you put it into a box or any container really, and then you move it to another room so it's out of the place that you don't want that clutter in anymore. Now you're decluttering that place and moving it somewhere else. So what's a good thing about this? The good thing about this is, one, you've gotten out of the room. You're not going to have as much stress when you go into the room and you have all this clutter in there. You've actually decluttered some part of the room, so it's going to actually decrease your stress level, which is actually a good thing, right? And the other thing about this is it's going to help you save time as well, because when you are going through and you have a room you need to organize, that takes a lot of time. Sometimes when you are just going through life, you don't have a lot of time to actually go through and say, I want to organize. I just don't have time. I got to go here, got to go there. And you're looking for all the different things you got to do. And you know you need to make sure you keep track of these things, but you don't want to sit and go through the organizing process. So what you do, you gather all those things up and put them into a box and move them to another room. So now you've gotten those things out of that one room and you have more space in that room to do whatever you want to do. And think about this. When you have ADHD, you do have a tendency to lose things, don't know where things are. If you put it inside a doom box and take it to another place, you know where all that stuff is. You say, hey, I want to find that thing. I know I put it somewhere. You can go look and find that box that's probably in there. It's not organized, so you have to go through and dig through to find that thing, but at least you know where it is. Now, think about this is, does a doom box actually have to be a box? And the answer is not really. It's just that when you actually have a place to put things inside and kind of gather them all up, it's usually in a box. But you could use a bag, you could use a basket, you could use some round container if you want to, whatever you want to do. Now, how many of these can you actually have? You can have as many as you want. Now, the issue with that is if you have too many, then you start getting into the issues of, okay, I have like 10 doom boxes and I moved 10 doom boxes into another room where I have all these different things. Now you have basically boxes full of things that you want to keep track of, but there's a lot of boxes and you may not know which box contains which thing. So that means you have to go through and try to find the thing in all these different kind of boxes and containers to find the items that you want. They're items that you want to keep track of, the items that are essential to you, but now you have just so many different containers that it may not be a really fast process to actually find the thing you're actually looking for. I wouldn't recommend having a lot of different ones. Like maybe just one is really good. And I really, if you got to get 2 or 3, that's fine. But you just don't want to get so many that you just have to go through and figure out which one is where, what is this. And if you put it into a room, put them in different places, then now you have to go figure out where all these things are in this other room. So a doom box is one of those things that you have to make sure you don't have too many. And so another thing, think about where you're going to put this thing, because you don't want to put it somewhere where you don't pass by, you don't see it, out of sight, out of mind. Real thing with ADHD. If you can't see it, you might just forget where it is. And if you can't see it, and you're trying to find it, you may not be able to find it at all because you're looking through and maybe you just miss it. So you want to put it somewhere where you know where it is without having to go look all around for it. And I do not want you to lose it, okay? I want you to have some way to find it. So one of the ways that you can definitely find things in your doom box and find the doom box itself is to have it in a clear container. Take a clear container, clear bin, and put your stuff in there, because then you can walk by, see it, automatically know what's inside it, because you can look through and see it clearly through that bin instead of having to open the bin, open the basket, whatever you have it in, and then search through it to see what's inside. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing that you can do is, even if you have it in a clear bin, you might want to still label it as into what's in there or the category of things that are in there. That way, if you don't really remember what's in there, you can at least have a label there and look at it and say, okay, I know there are these things in there. And the other thing about this with ADHD, it's about working memory a lot of times. So if you're looking for something, you get to stop and go through and think about, okay, I need to find this or that or whatever. I've just done that so many times where I'm kind of looking for stuff. I can't find it because I'm trying to go through and trying to remember all this stuff. Same thing like phone numbers, right? Somebody gives you a phone number, and you're trying to remember all those numbers, and you just can't because you are, hearing something else, or they're trying to talk to you about something else. That's all about working memory. So labels, just go ahead and say, hey, you don't need to do that. You can remember stuff really easily, really quickly. And something else that you need to do, you need to be able to remind yourself to go back and organize it. Otherwise, you're just gonna have a box of clutter that you never organize, never actually go back and make sure you have everything in order and get it out of the box in some place that you know it needs to go. You want to be able to make sure to remind yourself you need to go do this. So what you do is you take some sticky notes and you write, hey, remind me, or I need to go organize it on this day. Hey, you need to organize your doom box. Make sure you do not forget. You just put them in places around your house or apartment where you walk by and you can see it. You can also have like a dry erase board or a dry erase calendar, and you write it on there. Organize doom box on this day. The 26th day of the month. Put on there doom box organization. Organize my stuff in the box. Whatever you have to put on there to remind yourself, you put it on there. That way, hey, I didn't think I was gonna do this. I wasn't remembering it, but now I've looked on my dry erase board, dry erase calendar. I know I need to go do that thing. And if you don't do it that day, you're going to pass by it again and again and again. Each time you see it, you're going to be reminded that you need to do this. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you're like, okay, I finally have to go and do this and make sure that it's done. And here's a word of caution too. Do not let doom boxes take over your home where you have so many that you're like, hey, I've got 20 doom boxes now and they're all over, spread out over your home. You do not want to get into that situation. A doom box is a temporary solution. You don't want to make it a permanent home for all the stuff that you might want to keep or whatever, and you just have them in your home forever. It's a point to where you go, hey, I want to do this. I want to make sure this stuff is, I just don't have time to organize it right now. I'm going to put it in this box and get to it later. And so you don't want to make it a permanent box of things that are eventually going to become clutter, because then now you're going to have boxes of clutter in your home that eventually you're going to have to declutter, and that can be a very longer session that you have to go through and declutter, and that can be also frustrating because you're trying to go through and figure out what the heck did I actually put into this box, and you may not remember it at the time you go through and try to do all that. And here's a catch-22 of doom boxes. It is just basically procrastinating, putting something off so you can do it later. So that is the big thing about this, is that is what you're doing at the time, but you're just saying, hey, I just don't have time to do it right now. I can't do it right now. I don't want to take the time right now to do it. I have other things to do. And so this is what a doom box is doing in the general sense, is you are putting it somewhere and putting it off later and procrastinating. And that's a big thing with ADHD, because you're just prone to procrastination if you have ADHD. It's just part of it, because of the fact that you're like, I just am operating with just not enough dopamine to make myself motivated to do this thing, or this thing is just not interesting to me right now, so I'm going to put it off, or it's just not important enough right now to do it, so I'm going to put it off until later, till it's absolutely necessary for me to do it. And so you have to be careful about, hey, doing this multiple times with multiple doom boxes, and then you procrastinate it, and then you've gotten to the situation to where you are just throwing it all off all the time instead of actually going back and doing the task. And so thinking about it, are doom boxes actually good or actually bad? If they are used in the way they are intended to be used, as a temporary solution for you to actually take stuff, put it in one place, and then go back and organize it later, they can be super good, super effective for you. I just believe that. And you may find when you actually start doing these, that is what you use it for, and that's great if it works for you. However, if you don't use it the way that's intended, and then you just take stuff, put it inside there and move it to different places in your home, and then create clutter, not in that room that you were in, but in a different room in your home because you just have so many or just so much stuff is in there, or you don't even think about what you're actually putting into the doom box, and you just are taking things that you should have decluttered and thrown away and put it in there instead of throwing them away, then all those things can be very like big issues that you just don't want to get into. So it just depends on how you're going to use it and how you find yourself using it. So you can try it, see if you are just into the right way to use it, or if it's just getting to the point to where it's like, okay, I'm trying this, it's not working, it is just making a mess or making more clutter in my home, then in that case, it may not be something you want to use. And so it's really up to you and your lifestyle and what your needs are, and if you think that you can go through and actually use this the way it is intended. And so you need to ask yourself that question: is this something I can use for me? And really think about it, and then if you just want to try it, go ahead and try it and figure it out from there. Now, this is only like just one part of kind of organizing your home or apartment or whatever. I have other videos, but one that's really important to help you organize your home is I tell you how to make your home ADHD friendly in this other video, so you can go around and actually put different hacks in place to help make your home to where it's just more ADHD friendly for you or a friend or a family member. And that video is going to come up on your screen. It's going to come in a box. You just click the box. It's going to take you to that video. You can watch it, and there are all sorts of hacks in there. So go ahead and do that now.